It is said that there was a young man who deeply cared for his family. That he had a wife who he loved very much, and they had a young boy who was the object of their adoration and affection. And the situation comes about that this young man, his mother passes away, and his elderly father needs a place to go and stay, so he goes to stay in the home of his son, the young man. And this elderly man, he needs constant care and attention. It causes a lot of stress in the home. It seems as if his needs never stop. And one night they sit down to eat their dinner meal. And this elderly man is so frail, he is so fragile, that the sheer weight of the plate that he holds in his hands is too much for him to handle. And it falls from his grasp onto the ground, shattering into pieces. The young man can't take it anymore. All of the frustration, all of the anxiety, all of the anguish just unleashes itself. And he says to his elderly father that you can't eat with my wife, my son, and I any longer. But since you can't eat without causing a commotion, from now on you will sit at a table in the corner of the room by yourself. And since you can't eat off of the same plates that we eat off of, henceforth you will eat from a wooden bowl. And the elderly man, with a tear in his eyes, he goes and does what he is told. The next day now, this young man, he comes upon his own son. He comes upon his own child, and he sees him on the ground playing with some scraps of wood. And he wants to be with his son. He wants to play and participate in what his son is doing. And when he gets close enough to him, he says with a deep love and adoration and affection in his voice, "Oh, my son, what are you doing?" And the young boy, reciprocating the same love, adoration, and affection, says to his father, "Oh, my father, I am making a wooden bowl for you to eat out of when you get older." We learn explicitly and implicitly, consciously and unconsciously, the I that is standing in front of you today most assuredly has been impacted by every yesterday that I have lived in this world. And the moment that I stand in right now is definitely going to find its presence in moments that come beyond this one. Every interaction that I've been blessed to have, or in some cases unfortunate to have. Both the presence of certain individuals, certain ideas, certain experiences, as well as the absence of those things, shape me to be the person who I am. And for us to reflect upon this idea of masculinity, manhood, at a time when it seems like much of the world, whether they're Muslim or not, whether they're in this part of the world or 10,000 miles away where I come from, has gone to a place where the discourse has become so simplistic. And what it is that socializes us is not really deliberate strategic guidance that rears the best of potentials, but something that allows for there to be a bare minimum satisfaction of what the expectations are, and really a diminishing of patterns of emerging adulthood in a lot of our young men. Notions and ideas that are not just simple discourse or rhetoric, but things that really happen. Challenges that don't have to be sensationalized or in our mind dismissed because we believe that they're a rarity and they don't happen because we've never seen them happen. There's domestic violence everywhere. May Allah protect us from it. There's sexual violence everywhere. May Allah protect us from perpetrating it and allowing for it to happen. There's discrepant attitudes in what our expectations are of our young women versus our young men. And we get to a place where, especially if we practice Islam as a faith, we are staggering steps away from the example of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But the challenge for me is, how do we even get to a place where our hearts are in such a state that we have to engage text to be able to legitimize the idea that domestic violence is not permissible? Where does it say that we are, as individuals who claimed to have a relationship with a God who is the most merciful of those who show mercy, the source of an unconditional love. He is Wadud, the most gentle, the most kind. He is Latif. And we follow the sunnah of his messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who very explicitly, without mincing words, was a person who did not even engage in these atrocities, but he was a person who beyond the negative knew how to rear positivity.